it's Joe from Joe Pro Decor, and today I'm just going to be doing a little bit of a demonstration on the best way to strip wallpaper. Now this particular way, because there is many various ways of having to strip wallpaper depending on the type of wallpaper, the amount of layers, whether it's been painted, whether it hasn't been painted, etc, etc. And you're more than welcome to ask any questions on this video or any other video for that matter, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can with an answer to your questions. Now this particular room today, what I've done is I'd say probably 80% of the times in a domestic property when I come to strip wallpaper, it's a vinyl covering. I'd say 80% of the times it's not been painted over, it's just a finished wallpaper. What I've done on this particular job is I've stripped the front fascia of the paper, so the top layer, off dry. Now that is the best way to do it in most cases. So the first time you come to do the wallpaper stripping, what I do is I go into the edge with a sharp blade. I'll tear a little bit away and I will pull it, and I'll pull it nice and slow, and I'll just to see and determine whether the top layer comes off in big pieces or not. If the piece doesn't come off in large pieces and it's coming off in tiny little pieces, then the next stage is to perforate the paper. And that's basically a tool which is on my other video. For example, the festool, which puts tiny holes into the paper with blades or sharp needles. And then the water that you put on, which is warm water via one of these little beauties, which is a garden sprayer. It then soaks the water in and gets behind the paper and dissolves the paste, which is what you want to do when you want to take paper off. On this particular, let's get back to this one. On this particular one, the paper come off easily. As you can see, there is bits of top layer on there, the top layer, which is the white parts, that's the actual top layer of paper. And what it does is it's left the lining paper behind. So all you have to do then, in normal circumstances, you leave the dry paper on the floor. That helps soak up the wet moisture from the spray, which is then used to take off the bottom layer. Now trust me everybody, this is the fastest and most efficient way to take paper off. And this is what I use as a professional decorator on 90 to 95% of wallpaper stripping jobs. This is a garden sprayer. You fill it with warm water, hot water. It's better than cold, and because it helps dissolve the water soluble paste at the back of the paper easily. And you just put a little tiny bit of washing up liquid in it, guys. Just a little tiny bit, and like I say, it froths up. It just sticks to the paper and stops it from running as easily when you soak the paper. So as I've said, I've done that. As you can see, that's soaked. Now it literally takes me 5 minutes to soak a room. That's it. Take me 5 minutes for a room this size. I just want to show you how it's done. So you basically get the garden pump. You give it a pump as you would normally. I've already done that until the pressure builds up and you can't push it down anymore. And then you've got the trigger in hand, the lance with the trigger on it, and you basically just soak it as so. Just watch the sockets, don't go too close to the sockets, go around the sockets. And you can see the colour of the paper change. You know when it's soaked and it's got sufficient amount of water on there. And that's basically what I do. Now, like I said, I've gone all the way around the room. It takes 5 minutes. I'd give it another 5 minutes and then soak it again. If it takes longer than 10 minutes to do a larger room, you use your noggin, you think, right, it's ready for another soaking. So then you start again, go round again. Now I promise you, if it's just lining paper left on the wall, within 15 minutes it's been soaked and it's ready to go, and you can start stripping it, and it will fall off. So I recommend just going round twice to soak it, just giving it a little top up the second time, and it will just fall off. And the time it takes to take off, you'll be amazed at. So forget your steamers, because that's a DIY piece of equipment in most cases. It's for the DIY market. The only time a professional will use a steamer is for wood chip wallpaper, for example. But the main use in our trade is to remove Artex. So Artex from ceilings, etc., we use a steamer. But trust me when I say 95% plus of the time, you will not need a steamer. It is quicker, much quicker to use this method. So please guys, don't waste your time. So right now, I'm going to show you how easy this paper comes off. Right, so everybody, the wall's been soaked twice. It was done the first time in about 5 minutes, like I mentioned. Give it another 5 minutes, and so after 10 minutes, I coated it again and left it another 10 minutes. So within 20 minutes, the wall has been soaked twice, which is the backing paper. So we're just going to see how easy this comes off. And you'll see the speed in which this comes off, and you will understand why it's a waste of time getting the steamer out. And as you all know, the steamer actually takes 15 minutes to warm up anyway. So you stood around waiting for that to heat up. In that same time, the steamer's heating up and boiling. I've already soaked it twice. So let's crack on. This should just peel away, as you can see. That's exactly what it's doing. Obviously I've got the camera in one hand. I wanted to show you closely, so it is a bit awkward, but I just want to demonstrate the ease in which it comes off. So I estimate, without this in my hand, this will come off in 5 minutes. 5 minutes a wall maximum. So you're looking at 5, 10, 15, 20, you're looking at 20 to 30 minutes to fully strip the lining. Now if you were holding a steamer against the wall, you would be there a lot longer than 20 minutes, everybody. You're actually just stood there waiting for the steamer to do its business. Your other hand isn't doing anything. You might as well have a camera in it if you're doing that. So yeah, it's just a waste of time with a steamer the majority of the time. So I just want to explain a quick process that I use. When I come to do a wall, I will soak the first bit of wall just to see how it reacts to being soaked, the top layer. I will then move across, and on another sheet I will grab the corner and I will start peeling it. Now if the top layer is coming off easily, then the one that's soaked doesn't come into effect. If it's struggling to come off, the dry piece, I will then, roughly 5 minutes later after it's had a bit of soaking, see if the top layer comes off with the soaking. So I'm giving that chance just in case I need to come back to that method. Now, if I soak that, if the first method fails which to be honest works 80% of the time. I then try the second method, which is, and then I make sure it's soaked twice, try and peel the top layer off. If that top layer comes off easily, that's the method I'll stick to. I will soak all of the wallpaper without trying to take the dry bit off, because I know the dry bit didn't work. If the second method, where I soak the top layer, doesn't work, then I have to perforate it. So we'll go on to the next method, which is having to perforate that top layer to make it easier to come off. Now, in one of my other videos, I use a Festool for care, and it's a perforating tool. It is fantastic. You can get a couple of DIY items that don't really do a good job. They're very hard work. The Festool does a fantastic job of this. What it does is it perforates the paper, it lets the water soak in, then that layer will come off. Now, when you've soaked the top layer, as opposed to soaking the backing paper, in that situation, you're not guaranteed that it's going to take all of it off. It may just still take the top layer off. So in that case, all you have to do is repeat the process twice. So you soak the top paper, take it off, soak the backing paper, take it off. It does double the amount of time it's going to take you to take the paper off, but when you look at how quick this method is, double the time is still not a very long time, everybody. So that's what you've got to take into account. So trust me on this, give it a try. This particular model of this garden sprayer is probably one of the more expensive ones. It's a professional one because I use it a hell of a lot. It's got to endure a lot of use. So internally, the parts on this are metal as opposed to on the cheaper ones, the plastic. So if you were using it on a weekly basis, you'd need this model, obviously. But if you're just somebody who's doing your own work at home and you just need to use it very occasionally, then yeah, you can go out, you can buy one of the cheaper ones and they'll do just the same job. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you've got any questions on the process of stripping wallpaper, it is a simple process, and what I'll try to do is try and label it on the video as I go through it, rather than keep rewinding and listening to how I've got to explain it. It might be easier to actually read it on the screen as well, so I will do that. You'll probably see it somewhere on the screen at some point, and the process is a fail-safe. I use it every single time on my jobs. It saves a lot of time. It covers all angles. The only thing I can say is if the third process is failing and it's still struggling to come off, i.e. if it's, for example, chip paper. So you've got wood chip. Now that is notoriously hard to get off. But wood chip has generally got layers and layers of paint over it because it's been there a long time. And if that's the case, just try and get your scraper, soak it a few times, try and get your scraper behind it, and it does sometimes come off right from the backing, all off in big chunks, because the paper's usually very stiff, not very pliable, and it all bonds together because it's years and years of paint, and it comes off in big chunks. That's worth a try. So what I'm trying to say is there's multiple ways you should be trying before you get the wallpaper steamer out, because the steamer does really, slow the job down in a lot of cases. But don't get me wrong, I probably use it twice a year on average on jobs when the wallpaper is difficult. But that can sometimes be layers and layers of wallpaper rather than a particularly awkward wallpaper to strip. When there's one layer, 95% of the time this will work. Right, so that's it, guys. Any help, any questions, all you have to do is ask. It doesn't take me too long to reply. Please look at all my other videos. Please subscribe if you've not already done so, because there's going to be a lot of useful videos on my channel. So take care, everybody. See you later. Bye.